Boom! Welcome everybody to episode 41 Get Geeked Podcast.
Dang, it's been 40 episodes already.
Yeah, wow. Dude. You've been missing in action, man.
I'm here now.
There you go.
But yeah, it's been a while, so I'm back.
As you notice, Sydney is back. And it's still me. Like we said from last episode, Alex is busy doing I don't know what. But he's gonna be gone for maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Well, hopefully Sydney here could
accommodate for that. Yeah.
Accommodate for it. Yes.
Yeah. But I got something to talk about.
Boom.
It's been a while, so.
Do you have anything on the top of your head as of right now?
Well, I kind of wanted to talk about Star Wars as a whole, like the experience watching Star Wars, because I'm relatively really new to Star Wars, and I sort of binge watch, or like at least every movie in like the past 2 to 3 months, and I watched the last Star Wars movie, so Rise of Skywalker, and I'm watching The Mandalorian, and I'm planning to watch Clone Wars too. So
yeah. Off the top, what did you think about The Rise of Skywalker?
Off the top, okay, watching the second time, I realized that if you haven't watched it, you could probably watch it, and there's really good parts in the movie. I gotta say, okay, here's the laydown. Some parts are really good, but it's ruined because some parts are really weird.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Here's my whole take from that movie is he is right. If you've never watched another Star Wars movie, the movie itself may be pretty good. Like you could probably it's a good sci-fi movie on its own.
Yeah, lots of action, lots of things going on.
But if you try to interconnect it with the trilogy, it makes no sense. And it's kind of almost out of place. Yeah. Like it's just not a full through on a trilogy, and for it to end there is like a little weird. Like
it's not satisfying.
Yeah.
You want something more solid, something more.
There's a lot of
encapsulating.
There's a lot of things that happens in there that you're just like, why? How did we get here? And why did he? Or why did they make that decision? And just like I don't know, like it's.
Yeah. I'm so much fear, like
yeah,
negative energy. Just feel furious.
Because like I want to like Star Wars movie because I love the world. I love the Mandalorian. And here's the thing: I saw the season finale of the Mandalorian yesterday, and it blew me away.
Yeah, you said it was really good.
How well it's interconnected, how well they do the lore, because they're taking lores from the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta say, the Mandalorian is really cool. Like for some people who like, especially if you like space stuff, like sci-fi stuff. Also, if you like westerns, because it's like a very like western
that's
feel to it, like a space western.
Well, because that's what they first started off for with Star Wars. Was it to be a space western?
It felt like very also like just the Mandalorian himself. The character is so badass. I really like him. He's so cool. He's like the definition of like. If Clint Eastwood were to put on like a Mandalorian mask, yeah, it's like kind of feels like that.
Yeah, and then the side characters are awesome too. I mean, like you got IG-11. Yeah, you have the little old dude.
Yeah. I have spoken.
Yeah, I have spoken. You know
that guy. What else? The thing he rides. That thing is cool too.
Oh yeah. Dude.
Baby Yoda is cute.
Baby Yoda is blown up everywhere. Everyone loves
Amazing.
Baby Yoda.
Powerful too.
And I even like the gosh, I can't remember her name right now, but she's hot.
Oh, is it that one chick in the later episodes where
If you don't know, she's an MMA fighter. She was one of the first female MMA fighters to like do it big, like.
Oh, okay.
And she's hot.
And she's hot.
Yes.
So if you like people who are hot, you should watch The Mandalorian.
yeah. And if you want to see her in more action, watch the first Deadpool. She was in that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was the villain.
Oh no, I'm thinking of someone else. You're thinking of the person who is part of like the rebels. Yeah.
She was part of the rebels. Yeah, the retired rebel, or not even really retired. She AWOL'd.
Oh, okay.
Because they kept on putting her on posts to just like guard like senators and stuff like that, and she was like, "This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
I signed up to fight."
Yeah.
And then so she just bounced. She's like, "Yeah.
If
I'm not fighting,
she's really cool. She's really
dude. She's
cool.
Dope." She carries a big, gigantic gun. Oh, but you haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, hey, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so awesome. But yeah, and then to just like to go from that to go to Rise of Skywalker, it's just so far.
It's so different.
Yeah, it's so far from each other. It's so I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but disappointing at most.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
So I also want to talk about like the beginning, or at least like let's take it like step by step with the original trilogy. So like when was the time that you like first watched like Star Wars, or do you remember?
Like when I first saw it.
Yeah. I was in theaters.
I don't know. I was introduced to Star Wars through an elementary school teacher.
Oh, okay.
I forgot what grade it was, but I remember it was in elementary school because it was like we were in class. We're in the classroom. It was a dude teacher. Because I think I only had one dude teacher through the whole elementary school. The rest of them were like female teachers. Mm-hmm. But this one dude teacher, I guess he was like really into Star Wars, and so for a treat, or I don't know if it was a treat or if we had to like do a project with it or whatever, but he put on Star Wars for us to watch.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and then ever since then, I was hooked. Because like I was like yes, Star Wars is up my alley. Like everything I saw, I was just like amazed, mesmerized. I was like, it was awesome.
It's like since I'm newer, and when I watched it like for the first time, I already seen like tropes of this before, like sci-fi stuff. Like robots aren't new. Like I heard of lightsabers. I played the Lego Star Wars video game when I was a kid. So when I watched the original trilogy, it didn't feel as special to me. But I know for a lot of people, it was like the brand new kind of thing. There's a lot of really cool, and I looked into like the behind the scenes stuff, and there's like a lot of cool camera tricks they did. Mm-hmm. Like they had like the miniature Star Destroyers, and filming techniques that are really cool. And
let me just fix that real quick. Yeah. No, go ahead. Keep on going.
Oh, okay.
Because I can still hear you.
Okay, but anyway, I was gonna say. Oh, and then I realized I was watching the sort of re-release versions, like where George Lucas made edits to it.
Yeah.
And so some of the stuff, I'm like, that doesn't look like it's from that time. I'm like, that's CGI. I like that. And I realized, like, my friend's telling me all this stuff, like all this insight about how he keeps editing stuff. He's like, he's putting these things. Oh, let's add a CGI Jabba the Hutt, or let's add this here and this there.
See, and this is where the Disney acquisition of Fox comes into play, and why it's really important to Star Wars fans, because the people who own the original cut of the original Star Wars was Fox.
Oh, okay.
And they kept it in vault. They didn't want to release it for some weird reason, because like once George Lucas did all those edits and put all the CGI into it and redid it, that was the only thing in existence that you could buy.
Yeah.
You couldn't find any Blu-ray or DVD disc of the original trilogy the way it was originally made.
Yeah.
Because Fox was holding on to it. But now that Disney bought Fox, Disney owns it now. So that's where everyone's hoping that Disney will do the right thing and release the original cut in Blu-ray and stuff like that.
I really want to see it.
So people could buy it.
Yeah, because I heard the only way to see it now is like illegally. Like you had to like stream it, which is kind of sucks.
You don't have to really do it illegally if you know someone who bought the original VHS.
Oh, you're
or
right.
DVD.
You're right.
You could find
You
someone
can find
like that, and you know it's out there. You could find it like maybe through eBay or stuff like that, but it'd probably be very expensive because it is the only copies in existence right now. So
yeah,
like you know, but yeah, you can still find it that way. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
I mean,
do that,
you can.
But
You can if you
I
want.
bet it's very
but
expensive.
You don't have to.
Like it's like a collector's item kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, yeah, you had to have bought it back then and still own it.
Yeah.
You know, and have it not be broken or anything like that.
Yeah, we gotta you gotta show that werewolf guy. You know, he gets edited out of certain cuts from the cantina. So if you're a fan, you know, of werewolf people, get the original. Try to find the original cut.
That, and also because like Jabba the Hutt looks weird CGI.
Yeah.
So those scenes were a little weird and stuff like that. Like I kind of was more into the original cut Jabba the Hutt. You know,
yeah,
where you don't see him slithering around like a CGI PlayStation 2 cutscene.
Yeah, because there's plenty of other people or in the movie that are like, you know, actual costumes, and then you see CGI Jabba the Hutt, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Why is he what?
Yeah.
What?
And then there's some parts where the technology just didn't match up with the technology of when you saw it back then. You know, I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, you know,
I do appreciate like sort of the maybe like the recoloring and the quality looking better for like modern view, but some of the edits that George Lucas puts in is like so strange.
Yeah, it's so yeah. Like what the thoughts he had to
like
the decisions he made was
the Han
weird.
Solo have you seen like the neck movement thing he does when like he's when the Greedo shoots or that scene they made like a bunch of re-edits, and then one of the edits was that Greedo shoots first and then Han like twitches his neck, and they kind of had to like CGI fix or like move his neck, or not CGI but like edit his neck to move a weird way, and then he shoots back. It's so oh my god, it's so strange if you notice it.
I don't know, man. Yeah. George. That's why Disney owns Lucasfilms now.
I
man.
understand that you like technology and CGI and the cutting edge, but that was weird, man. That was a weird.
No, it was, and that's why no one really dug the new edits to it. That's why everyone's clamoring for release
the
original cuts. Like
Yeah.
we want the original cuts. Give it to us. Like if I saw the original cut on Blu-ray somewhere, I'd probably buy it. You know what I'm saying?
I would really love to watch the original cut. But let's move on to the prequels. So, what did you in your first impressions of watching like
Okay.
you watched the prequels, like all of them?
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, though. The prequels came out while I was kind of like a young adult because I was already out of high school, but I wasn't deep into college yet. And the cool thing about that, the cool thing about it was, well, it was weird when I first saw it because it like the hype on it was like everyone was super hyped up, like because it's been so long since the originals, and so this was when it was first announced, people had already grabbed their chairs and their tents, and if you went to and I lived in a small town at that time, so if you went to the local theater, you saw a row of tents and people just camped out, like a few weeks away from the release.
What the heck?
Like they were out there, bro. Like it was
the hardcore fans, out there,
and some of them were dressed up and whatever, and so it was super hyped up, and it kind of put a veil over our eyes when we first saw it because how hyped we were, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And not just that, but I had an extra hype on it because even though all these people were lined up, I knew a guy who worked at the theater.
Oh.
So I didn't have to wait in line.
Oh, okay, Mr.
I got to sneak in.
Mr. President.
I got me a seat, you know.
That's so cool.
I think I saw it first time for free, and then I paid for the second time, but still got in without waiting in line.
Oh my god.
You know, and so I got an extra, you know, hype on it, you know. So when I first saw it, it was like, I think nostalgia and the hype kind of pull a veil over my eyes because like on first viewing, I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
Cool,
yeah, this is awesome. But then like watching it the second and third time, I started falling asleep in the theaters in certain parts because of how you realize on how boring some of the stuff was. And even though there's some people out there who like who go for it, they're like, I like the information stuff. I like the
world building,
the politics and all that stuff. But nah, bro.
We want space adventures.
Yes, we want space adventures, not an hour of people.
An encyclopedia, you know.
Yeah, not an hour of people debating
and really cheesy romance.
like if I wanted to watch an hour of debate, I would have watched a debate.
Yeah.
I came here for a space Western.
Yeah.
Like I wanted space.
I want guns,
adventures,
and sabers, and fighting. I mean, we did get some of those, but a lot of it was not that.
I think the first go around was kind of cool because you get to see like they put in new aliens in there, and there's like
they add in more stuff. You see like the council.
Yeah,
people.
You see more of the space.
You see Samuel L. Jackson.
you see more Jedis than just a couple.
You see CGI Yoda.
You see CGI Yoda, which at that time was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, he does look really good.
At that time, that technology was kind of like the highest. I mean, it's gotten better now, but back then it was cool. But just to see more of the world, it was awesome. So, but that was just one thing.
Then you realize the dialogue is very boring. Yeah, and a lot of stuff that happens is.
And the actors came out and said like, yeah, it was a little weird because a lot of times when they recorded dialogue, they were recording dialogue to a blue screen.
Oh, okay.
Or to a green screen or whatever it was that they used, and like it was hard to do the right reactions and stuff like that because you weren't acting against another person, you were acting against a green screen. So but it was weird.
When I was watching the prequels, so my friend's like, all right, you gotta watch the prequels because there's a lot of memes and we gotta show you how bad the prequels are so you can understand the culture of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so I watched them like, damn, this is really boring. And then
heck of boring.
The memes about pod racing, and oh my god, the pod racing scene, sure it was cool, but it was so long. Mm-hmm. It was just like long. It's doing the same routes, whatever. And it's just during that time I was like falling asleep. Like my friend wasn't exaggerating that the pod racing was like really long. But,
I've lost count on how many times I fell asleep in the theaters watching those videos. I fell asleep a lot.
Yeah.
Because it just got boring, dude. It was so boring.
Yeah, a lot of the dialogue, like the acting parts, kind of like very like unmotivated for some points. Like when Samuel L. Jackson is talking, it might have been Samuel L. Jackson, or Mace Windu is talking to, it was either Anakin or someone else, or I don't. No. At this time, it's like Qui-Gon Jinn and Ben Kenobi, like like walking together. So it's one of them. And he's like, we must hurry, and then they kind of like turn around and do this like sort of strut walk, and it's just like looks so funny. And or like, oh shit, when Anakin's talking to Padme about I killed them all. I slaughtered not just the men, but the women too, and the children. And then Padme's like, "Oh, Anakin, I love you," and starts getting kisses. And I'm like, "What?
No, yeah,
what?
Exactly."
What
that was the other thing. Yeah, they made a lot of weird choices, man. I mean, George. More weird choices. I don't know where you're going with this, George.
Like at least for like the original trilogy, they a lot of characters' lines were like pretty good and witty and funny. Like when Harrison Ford is like, I remember in a interview or something, Harrison Ford was or maybe it was Mark Hamill. Talking about how Harrison Ford made George Lucas look at his own dialogue and like read it to him, how boring it was, or how bad it was. And so, like, he had like an effect on the dialogue, but I guess for the new movies, I don't know what happened. They just kind of let George Lucas do his thing.
Yeah, they put too much trust in him because he was the one who created this world to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure maybe he had like person to look over the script, but they let it go, and it's just when it came to acting it out, it just seemed very like
because at that time
strange.
the only type of people that was around George were yes men, and they were saying yes to everything.
That makes sense. But...
I mean, like he was already questionable in the beginning because the storyline of the first trilogy was a little weird to begin with.
Yeah,
guy tries to save a princess, doesn't realize that it's his sister, and almost had a romance with her.
No, yeah.
Come on, man. And then the prequels, guy slaughters everybody,
and the sand people and other people,
and girl falls in love with him for that.
Yeah.
Like Anakin, I love you. You're a killer. I love you. Like, come on, man.
There's some parts that like make sense, but there's like parts that don't. Like, I understand. Like, I like to the character of Anakin that the idea of like Jedi visions. So it kind of there's like a motivation behind him wanting to get into the dark side, because he wanted to save his wife Padme with the immortality thing from the dark side, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to make sense. But then, like, just the romance aspect of it, like, it kind of makes that motivation fall apart because you just don't feel connected with the characters, like Anakin and Padme, and their relationship. It just feels so strange because their communication is just really weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and not even just that, but let's get into how when they first found Anakin, he's a little kid.
Yeah.
And then when they meet Padme, she was way older.
Yeah, way taller, way older, and it's just
and then okay, let's move
a little weird flirting.
Even if you move away from the romance, when they found Anakin and he was young, sure he knew how to drive a pod race.
Yeah.
But they let him drive a freaking space.
Yeah, that was weird too.
Like they and then they let him blow up another ship.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, cool, he's good. He's really good. Let's allow this little kid to do that."
Yeah,
really. You are space rebels, and you're allowing a little kid
to pilot a ship, and then he actually, he went through it and like does all these stunts and destroys stuff. I'm like, I mean, sure, but like. It's just
right.
It's just weird to think about.
There's a lot of weird things, man.
And okay, gotta address the sort of like the big thing kind of been avoiding the addition of the character that a lot of people hate, Jar Jar Binks. Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Well, you know what, dude? Like, to tell you the truth, he didn't bother me too much when I first saw it. Like, I didn't really care for it. The meme caught on though pretty quick and pretty rapidly, and he went to another level. I mean, like, there's even memes out there saying that Jar Jar Binks was the real Sith Lord.
Yeah,
I
would have. I mean, I think that's really funny, but
I mean, I saw where they were going with him though, like as comedy relief, because everything was so serious. You needed a little bit of relief in there,
and like a lot of like the dialogues is like very sort of like monotone and quiet or something. Mm-hmm. And Jar Jar was there to like he's kind of like the most alive like animated character. Pun intended, but he's like the most alive character. A lot of I kind of felt like the movies. I mean, this might be a tough sell for some people. I feel like they kind of needed Jar Jar
in a bit, in other ways,
because a lot of it was very quiet and like a lot of their interactions didn't feel like human interactions. It's just like, oh, let's talk about what's going on. Everything, blah, blah, no opinions about certain things.
Everything was too robotic.
Yeah. So with Jar Jar, he's like, oh, Misa's scared or whatever. Yeah. And like he'll talk about his problems with what's going on.
Well, see, in the original trilogies, it's weird. In the original trilogies, I don't want to say like the vocabulary was dumbed down, but it was like a mixture. It was an equal mixture of technical terms and then layman's terms, so that everyone was able to follow and but still pick up on these like bigger terms that are like spacey and stuff like that. Or technical space terms and stuff like that, right? And then you had that's why Han Solo and Chewbacca was such welcome in because they were kind of the relief as well, as well as the droids. You know, C-3PO and R2-D2. They were the comedy act also, but you had an equal kind of amount because Han Solo and Chewbacca was more serious and comedy at the same time, and then you had C-3PO and R2-D2, which were just all comedy kind of. You know, Where and then I think what they went wrong with Jar Jar Binks was, they pushed it all on him instead of spreading it through like a bunch of other characters.
There's no balance.
They put it all on him. Like everyone else was serious, and then the only one that's comedy relief was just him. And that's just not the way to go.
Yeah, the notch was turned up to 10 for Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, not even to 10, to 11, bro.
11, yeah. And like people also have problems of like even understanding the way he talks.
And then in the prequels, they didn't equalize the terms either. Everything was all big terms. Like everything was serious. Everything was serious in terms. Like if you watch the dialogue in the prequels, there was no layman's terms used in any of the acts until you get to Jar Jar Binks, and then Jar Jar Binks took the layman term and took it further down than layman's. He went full special needs.
But okay, what would you say is the most tolerable of the prequels? Would you ever like rewatch the prequels? And if you were, which one would it be?
See, the thing is, dude, I've rewatched them.
Oh, you have, yeah, you have.
Because like I've watched them multiple times, and I watched all of them multiple times.
Yeah. So which one would you say is like your favorite, and which one would you say is like your favorite character? I guess in the prequels.
Jeez, dude.
Because for me, my favorite was just like the end. Okay, there's Phantom Menace, Attack of Clones, and Revenge of the Sith.
I would say the end of Phantom. I would have to give it to Phantom Menace just for the ending scene because they fight Darth Maul.
Oh yeah.
That was probably the best out of all the prequels.
That was probably
because the Clone Wars was just kind of a mess. There was like too many characters. Or I mean, not Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
And then the other one was just boring and forgettable.
I kind of liked the last one just for the sake of seeing like like the lava and stuff in the fight between Anakin and
Kenobi.
Ben Kenobi, and then like Anakin falling into the dark side. I kind of like sort of understand Darth Vader as a character by that point.
See though, like it's just weird. I mean, I can't get into that one because the way he got there was just weird.
Yeah.
Like you're a kid, you find out your mom's dead,
so you decided to kill a lot of people.
Then you slaughtered all the people who kind of enslaved her, and then you fall in love, and then you get the love of the princess, and then you killed all the Jedi kids, and then you become a Sith. I mean, it's a weird storyline.
Yeah,
it didn't go smoothly. It went like abruptly.
I wish it was better.
Like they didn't weave the storyline in well enough.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the problems with the prequels too is the reason why a lot of people fall asleep is just the pacing just feels really slow.
Oh. No, it's a snail. It's a snail pace.
You're just like waiting for something to happen. Like that's why a lot of people like sort of like the best part of the prequels, like the fight scenes. So like with Darth Maul, or when you see General Grievous for the first time, he has 4 sabers, and you see that, and like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, like, those fight scenes were far apart from each other.
Yeah,
that's where it kind of.
And you just don't want to put in the effort to wait that long. The pacing just makes you fall asleep.
Like it was like George Lucas dangling a carrot with you. Like, like it was like, oh, do you want to see a cool fight scene?
You gotta get through all the story though.
you gotta sit through an hour and a half of debates.
Yeah. All this politics and whatever is going on. And
then, oh, look here, cool fight scene. Now wait another hour until we get to another one.
Or when when some like sort of important parts come on, it's like when Palpatine talks to Anakin, where he's like, oh, he's talking about the midichlorians and how he sort of
Oh.
hints that, you know,
Speak
he
of something
starts
that
his-
made everyone mad as well.
The
Midichlorians.
Yeah, midichlorians. Yeah.
They took something that was mystical and a mystery, and it was awesome, and
made it
they
science.
turned it into science.
yeah.
Like that's always bad news. Like if it was gonna be science, make it science from the beginning.
Yeah.
If you don't explain that it was science from the beginning, do not turn it into science, because that's how you make a lot of people mad.
Yeah. I strongly felt like the forcing was very like sort of like a powerful religious like or like like entity.
Yeah,
And that made it like really like cool in contrast to the sci-fi stuff.
Well, see, in the sci-fi world, and when I say sci-fi, I'm talking magic and science together.
Oh, okay.
So in the sci-fi world, the people like to keep science and magic separate almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like if one thing and it has to be explained that way, kind of like if one thing's explained as magic, we have to keep it magic. If one thing's explained as science, we got to keep it science. And then if you're gonna mix the two, then you gotta state that from the beginning for us people to accept it. you know?
Yeah.
So it's a little weird, but but the thing was, in the first trilogy, they kind of explained the Force as magic almost, and then when they turned around and said that it was science in the prequels, everyone kind of
A lot of
flipped their
people was
lid.
like, yeah.
Yeah, so
Like,
that
all the
was
magic is gone, and
that's another check on the checklist of what was wrong with the prequels.
Yeah. And also, where I was going with the midichlorian things is that when Palpatine's talking about it, he's hinting about, or he kind of straight up says that like I created a person using midichlorians, and so that's how kind of like Anakin came about, sort of in a way. And I missed that part because the dialogue was so boring, but like I didn't care. I was like, and then my friend told me later, and like they said like that Palpatine like said that he made a person with midichlorians and put it into a woman, and then as Anakin was born. And technically, Palpatine is kind of like a father to Anakin, sort of. And I just like, oh, they said that? I don't know. I was falling asleep during the movie.
That wasn't really proven though.
Where are they?
It might have been said, but I don't think that was proven. That Anakin was made. But I mean, the thing was too, they never really explained who his dad was either. So I think that's where they kind of
had
to keep that a mystery.
They made it like they didn't like overtly just like say like, oh, I'm your dad. They kind of like had to put some mumbo jumbo together to maybe hint or some people wanting.
I think they were trying to redo the whole Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
Like,
to make it like match up together thematically. But other than that, did you have any other opinions about the prequels? I think I said what I wanted to say.
We kind of already said it all. Like it was bad, and then the thing is that, and that's what made the new trilogy so exciting, was because like
we need something to break the badness of the prequels.
And the thing was, dude, the Force Awakens was like, it was good, even though a lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was just a remake of the first trilogy.
Yeah, New Hope.
Yeah, New Hope, but it was good.
Yeah,
and it
was very good.
It had enough like it left us with questions that was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It had good action scenes. It brought in new droids. It expanded the world a little bit.
Yeah,
they could do more with expanding the world, because that's where they kind of mess up. Like, we're talking about space here. Mm-hmm. Space is vast, but yet we always keep on running into the same people.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a little weird, But hey, we'll expend our disbelief for that. But but it was exciting. Like Force Awakens was exciting, and that's where The Last Jedi messed it all up.
Yeah, for a lot of
people.
Because
they, instead of answering the questions that The Force Awakens gave us, Rian Johnson took the questions and just crumbled it up and threw it away.
Yeah, and then put in this like other things to be like a different vision.
Yeah,
for the characters.
Yeah, he went in a whole different direction, and then he ended it in a weird spot. And so when J.J. Abrams took it again to do Rise of Skywalker, he had to fix the direction that it was going.
And things, yeah.
And by doing that, you could kind of
it makes things awkward.
It did make things awkward, and you could see it in the movie. You could see the parts where he had to fix the things, and then he also had to continue his story, as well as add on like another storyline, which you didn't really need to add on any other storylines, because this is supposed to be the last one.
I gotta admit, like, one thing that I'm glad about, because like with the new stuff, you know, you get introduced, like, you only need to watch sort of like, you don't need to watch the whole thing to sort of enjoy the new trilogy.
Yeah.
You could just watch like what was it, 7 and 8 to like and 9, but it's just I'm glad I watched the whole thing, because then I got to know like the characters Leia, Luke, Han Solo, and Chewbacca, and like their emotional attachments to each other, and just like seeing them come back, like and like Harrison Ford, you know, I think I heard like my friends talk about in interviews how he just wanted to like Han Solo to die. So I wouldn't think he would want to come back for like the newer movies, but he did, and I thought that was really cool. And I get to see, you know, Leia, Luke, and I'm so glad that Leia got to like be a part of the last part before she passed away.
Yeah,
and
but
like,
they could
Chewbacca too.
And that goes into a little bit of why I didn't like the Rise of Skywalker also, because I just like they could have gave her a better outing.
Yeah, I think actually
her story arc just didn't finish satisfyingly to me.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think they sort of gave her I don't want to say it, but it was kind of a good send up, but it's not complete. I need something more satisfying.
It's not complete. That's the thing. It's too open ended.
It's like that's kind of like my whole overarching thing about the Rise of Skywalker, is that it's good at some points, but I need something more.
Or I don't know. The thing is, I felt like they were trying to cram too much into it, and that's why you have that unsatisfying feeling. Yeah. It's like you crammed so much into this that we didn't have anything to latch onto and feel complete at the end.
Yeah.
You know, even though they tried to complete the storyline at the end, it just didn't feel complete.
Oh, well, okay. We kind of forgot the things before that. Before like, or no, actually, chronologically, is Solo and Rogue One.
The movies that are not a part of the storyline,
of the main series. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, dude. I still haven't seen Solo.
Yeah. Okay.
But I love Rogue One.
That's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Even though a lot of people hate on it for some weird reason, I don't know why they hate on it. It was a good movie.
It was a good freaking. And the pacing is good. The action is good.
And not just that too, but it's a little bit biased of me, but because we're Asian. You know, we got almost an Asian Jedi. No, he wasn't really a Jedi,
sort of like a monk,
but he was a monk that a
priest or whatever.
But hey, he was a part of it, and he was badass.
I think I don't. He's the guy who played Ip Man. I think.
Yeah.
So it's really cool seeing like if you watch Ip Man and you're Asian and you love these like fighting kung fu movies or like Wing Chun or whatever, just to see him featured on it in like a totally like Western style movie. It's like really cool, like at least for like diversity's sake.
And he had one of the best scenes and the best quotes out of the movie.
It was so funny when they captured him and they put the bag over his head. And it's like, I'm blind anyways. I can't see. That was really funny.
But yeah, Rogue One was dope, and not just that too, but they had a very awesome Vader scene at the end.
That was
tight.
I always wanted Vader to really be like brutal, but that scene was amazing.
Even though the special effects on Princess Leia was a little bit weird to see.
Oh yeah.
They still haven't really kind of fixed the whole uncanny valley look
sort of thing
of CGI people.
Good thing they only showed it for like a little bit.
Yeah, it was just like a few seconds.
Yeah, it wasn't like too much.
It wasn't too long.
Too long.
Unlike other scenes where I forgot the name of the general, but the general was.
Oh yeah.
But I think they did that kind of well because they kind of
Tarkin.
They kind of kept him in the dark, so you couldn't really see him. Mm-hmm. But you could tell that it was CGI still. Mm-hmm. You know, but I don't know. It was good though. I liked it. Rogue One was cool. Solo I haven't seen still, just because I hear so much bad things about it. I can't bring myself up to watch it.
I think some people like Solo. I think it's good in some aspects, but it suffers like the problem of Rise of Skywalker, or actually I don't know how to describe it. It's just some of the pacing also feels kind of slow. What else? Some of the stuff they add in to like be a little cutesy with like being being like like tying into the main series. It's can I also like I think I kind of want to say this, but like where Han Solo gets his name from. Oh, his last name?
No, I heard the story on how that sounds dumb.
he's like Han, or what's your last name? It's like, I don't have one. Well, the guy's like, or some random guy gave him his last name.
Then you are Solo.
I know. One good thing though is I did like Childish Gambino as Lando. I kind of did like that.
Yeah, he got a lot of praise.
Yeah,
I heard that he got a lot of praise.
That was cool.
But one character cannot save a movie.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of Star Wars talk, huh?
Yeah. Did you have any other thing to talk about? Cause
no, I mean we can make this just a Star Wars episode.
Yeah, cause
How long have we been going though?
We gotta check now.
Oh, we're close to an hour almost.
Okay.
So I mean we can kind of like, I don't know.
Can we get some opinions about Rose?
Rose?
Yeah, the
new character?
Yeah, the new character Rose. Because I know a lot of people kind of don't like her and see her as useless.
Well,
I don't see it that way.
It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late to bring in a new character. You know?
I kind of forgot when she comes in. Like, was it The Force Awakens or Last Jedi? I don't remember.
It was Last Jedi, right?
I don't remember.
The Asian chick?
The Asian chick, yeah.
Yeah, it was Last Jedi, and it's too late. And the thing is they try to do this weird romantic thing with Finn with her, but they built Finn as having a romantic relationship with Rey in Force Awakens, but then all of a sudden they change it to where Rey's having this romantic thing with Kylo Ren.
Oh, you're kind of right.
You know? And so now everything's all jumbled, mumbled, and we don't know who's in love with who, and there's nothing. That's why it was so bad, because you have to give the viewers something to follow.
Yeah.
And if you mix it up too much, then we don't know who to follow. You know, like, do we follow Rey? Do we follow Finn? Do we follow Rose? Do we follow Kylo Ren? We don't know. That it's going in so many different directions. Like, now we're just like, I don't want to follow anybody. You know, so like they try to do too much with her. They try to interweave her too much, and plus she did the dumbest thing at the end of The Last Jedi that it just made her character look dumb. And so if you write a character out to be dumb, even though it wasn't supposed to mean to be dumb, people are gonna be like, "That's dumb," you know, because Finn was supposed to try to sacrifice himself, and then she's like, "Don't sacrifice yourself," and then she ends up almost sacrificing herself by making Finn not sacrifice. I'm just like, okay, what the hell? You're dumb, you know, like it just didn't work out, and. Yeah, and then she kisses Finn at the end, and just like, wait.
Yeah, it feels a bit like she's like sort of like it feels like she's a fangirl.
Yeah, but
it's like, oh, let me, because my idol.
But here's the thing though: if they had brought her in from the beginning and interweave that love story to make it kind of like a love triangle, and then show that Finn was maybe, you know, falling for her too, so that it took him away from Rey, and then that way you could develop the Rey and Kylo Ren thing, and then Finn and Rose thing. That would be fine. That would work. Mm-hmm. But they brought her in the middle of the story,
and it feels like it never developed.
Yeah, it never developed. It never went anywhere. Like it wasn't even really mentioned in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, you're right.
You know. So like, well,
what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? So yeah, I don't know.
I don't mind her, but because I kind of see it as like seeing one of the background characters kind of come to life as like a main character that comes in, and but like it just feels like she's a bit underdeveloped as a character. Oh, like she had potential.
Not even a little, a lot.
Yeah, it's like oh, you know, how her home was on a planet with like gamblers and or whatever where they meet or
wait, was that her home?
Yeah, I think she was born where like they had the casino
island.
Yeah, and then like the kids were like raising the animals.
Did she say that?
I think she did. Where she's like, oh, I was sort of like raised in this area, because she talks about it, like this casino is not so great. You should see how the rest of it, like how they treat the kids that are kind of being subjugated to taking care of the animals.
Weird. I don't know.
And like that part was like, okay, we're getting some, you know, background. She's able to like give some insight to the story or whatever, but it felt like it was too late. There's not enough breathing room for her to develop as an attachment character, like a character with that we could attach to.
Like, if she was, like, built to be a side character, they should have wrote her like a side character, and in that way she would have been okay. But they tried to write her in as, like, a main character. And it was too late to write her in as a main character. Especially in the route of the storyline they were trying to push her in. You know? It's just strange. And not just that, but, like, everything she did didn't have a payoff. Because her and Finn went on that mission and failed at the mission.
Yeah.
and then Finn tried to save the day, and then she stopped Finn, and they failed at that. So that's two fails in one movie. You know, like how are people supposed to back her when everything that they do fails? You know, like, you got to give us at least one like yay moment.
Yeah.
You know, like that happened. Yes,
actually,
they did it.
They added sort of an attachment to the character for Rose because like her sister dies. I think
that wasn't enough. Because we didn't have time with her sister. Yeah. Like, oh, look at this person. Now they're dead.
Well,
you know how many other people died in that beginning scene? It doesn't matter. You know, maybe if they kind of brought her sister in in Force Awakens, and we kind of like,
and then we get more attachment. Yeah, that would
build a little bond, and then see her die in the beginning of The Last Jedi, and then we'd have more of a feeling and attachment to Rose, but. Nah.
They didn't do that. That's not what
They're
happened.
like, look at this girl. Oh, now she's dead. And then, now this is her sister. Feel for her. Nah, I don't know her. I don't know that. You know, like, what are you talking about? I don't know.
Yeah. One more thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, how did you feel about when Rey looked into the mirror and only saw herself, and she had no relations to anyone in the story? Like, when they first kind of mentioned about her background.
Well, see, that's where it doesn't make any sense either, because that's why the Rise of Skywalker didn't make any sense either. Because if you're gonna tell me that her parents were nobodies, and then all of a sudden, oh, I meant to say they wanted to be nobodies. Like, what? What do you mean? Her granddad is Palpatine. What do you mean? That mirror was broken then. That mirror should have showed her the Sith world,
or at least like, cause technically, kind of like the age that, when she she was like sold. I think they mentioned this in Last Jedi, where she was like sold, or Kylo Ren's like, oh, they sold you for money, and then and Rey was like, no, don't tell me anymore. But like at that point, I think she should have seen her parents in the mirror, because she sort of was raised by them at like a decent age. At least they showed that in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I guess like it's kind of metaphorical, which my friend said it to me this way, where it's like she kind of raised herself, so she herself as it was her own parent. She's like a scavenger. She has to like her theme being a scavenger. She has to take care of herself and like find things, and make a living out of what else she has.
Yeah, but like, if I remember correctly, the mirror was supposed to show like not just how she was raised. It was supposed to show her like what was inside of her, and because she is part of the Sith Lord and has the Sith powers in her, it should have showed her that somehow. I don't know.
She asked. I remember she asked the question, but I forgot how she phrased it. But I think it was like, oh, who are my parents or something like that?
Yeah, and no, that's the other part too. She asks Kylo, and Kylo knows who she is. Kylo Ren knows who she is, knows that she is Palpatine's granddaughter, and Kylo tells her in The Last Jedi that your parents are nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But then it comes
somebody.
and then it comes to find out in Rise of Skywalker. It goes back to that, like, I thought you said my parents were nobody, and he goes and says like they wanted to be nobodies because they were the kids of Palpatine, they were Palpatine's kids, which is weird. I mean, I don't know, and I guess the Sith power skips a generation, then, because the parents didn't have it, but Rey does.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, how? What?
Because like if you had Sith powers, like, do you really not want to use it? I mean, you have Sith powers, dude.
One thing I wanted to mention, just like how kind of, just one part that was just really weird, but and a little bit out of place, and it's just vivid in my memory because I kind of remember it as part of Luke's character. In The Last Jedi, for one moment, he goes to like this animal and just kind of milks it. I was like, what?
That was weird.
And he kind of shrieks.
And then the monster looks at Rey too, man. I don't know. They're like, yo. You see this guy drinking my milk?
Yeah, that's my milk. That's my milk. I did that.
I don't know, man.
There's a lot of funny, but it was weird. What do you think about the Jedi text thing? Do you think that's a cool addition?
The textbooks and stuff?
Yeah. Do you think that's kind of weird too?
It is, because like how are you gonna have everything that is you or your people in just this small library of books, and supposedly it burnt down, but it didn't really, because Rey had him at the end.
Because that surprised me. I'm like, oh, like the Jedi people care about history, because they do, that really comes about.
And that was kind of weird too, because like, when did Rey even grab the books? Because didn't she already leave when Luke burnt
you're right,
the library down?
Yeah.
Like, so how did she get the books? Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. Yeah, unless she stole the books before she left, and then Luke thought the books were still in there, and then burnt the library down. So I mean, okay, so that could work. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe, but yeah, it's weird to have like all the history of your people in just a small library, and then that's it. That's all that's all that there is.
For me, I felt like it's probable that they kept it, and like they just didn't want to, or they just never thought about including it until this movie. It's just weird how they kind of brought it up, like, oh, this is a thing. All right, here's the thing. I'm like, oh, well, sure, that could exist, but like, it's weird mentioning like history books of Jedi's at this point.
But I mean, I guess that could happen, because that almost happened with like Hitler and the Jews. Like Hitler tried to destroy anything about the Jews. So,
okay.
So like there was like not that much text in it, but then it was saved, towards the end. But I mean, I guess you could look at it that way, kind of like the Jedi's, the Empire were Hitler, and the Jedi's were the Jews.
I found it really interesting how my friend kind of told me about how they're related, like like Darth Vader and the Empire and whatever, like space Nazis.
Yeah.
And then everyone is just like Germany.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of people who are Nazis.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. I don't know.
That's why I liked Rogue One a lot, because I kind of saw that, how like her Jin's dad was like a scientist, but was working with the Empire against his will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's really cool. That's like a real thing that happened with Nazis whenever.
Yep.
With like scientists who are forced to do things for
That's
for
what it is.
experiments.
It's space Nazis. That's what
Yeah.
That's what Star Wars is.
Space Nazis.
But yeah, I mean, and so now like the whole Skywalker is coming. It's basically ended, and I guess the only like, even though I'm disappointed at how it ended, I'm kind of excited to see where they go from here.
Yeah,
because Disney's not going to stop making Star Wars movies
if it rakes in too much money.
So I want to see like what storyline they pick up. Who are they going to go with? How are they going to start this up again? Like, where did we go from here?
Will they include like Rey, Finn, and anything like 30 years later, and they're all old and stuff?
I hope not. If anything, I hope they go towards a different lore. Me and Alex kind of touched a little bit on it, kind of last episode or a few episodes ago, where like maybe they take it from the video games, like a character from the video games, maybe.
A lot of people like some of the characters. Like my brother likes Starkiller from.
And then do a storyline with that character, like not take the video game storyline, but just take that character and make a story with him.
Yeah.
Or they could grab a storyline from like any of the animated shows.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of them and they're all good.
Yeah.
The characters are dope. The storylines are dope.
Like, how my friend's like, he kind of like hated how Maul was portrayed in the prequels because he didn't get any lines.
Yeah.
Like, there's no development. You just see him fight.
Yep.
But in Clone Wars, he's like a really amazing character, apparently.
Yeah.
Like,
even like in the textbooks too, because like he even he was like the head of some of the Mandalorian armies at some point.
Oh, okay.
Well, like he wasn't like a head of them, but like he joined up. His group joined up with a Mandalorian group, and they were like a group of like marauder Mandalorians, basically. Like, and it was that's not like the complete history of it, but it's as close as I could remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he has a very interesting story. Like a lot of the characters.
A lot of people like Ahsoka from the cartoon series.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I don't remember because my friend talks about it, but I don't keep track. That's why I've been wanting to watch Clone Wars. There's a lot of like cool characters in there that just don't involve in the regular series. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of cool characters to pick and pull from. You could even like go through the villain world too, because there's a lot of Sith lords that are very amazing.
There's one with the
crazy
lightsaber who's like slightly curled. It's like a female Sith, I think. But yeah, I'm like, wow. When I saw the cosplay of that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
So there's so many ways that they could go, and that's the exciting part of this. Even though the whole storyline ended kind of in a not so good way, we still have stuff to look for.
Yeah, we can kind of forget about it once the new ones come.
And not just that, the Mandalorian show is amazing. So I can't wait for season 2. You need to see the last episode.
I do need to see the last episode because
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that show. I'm excited to see where they go from it. And because one of the main things is, and I don't know if they're gonna do it, but it looks like they're going in that direction. Mm-hmm. But they're gonna answer what race is the Yodas, or what race is Yoda.
One way or another, yeah.
Because maybe the Mandalorian has been Kree to the action of finding the baby Yoda's species and
their family,
taking him back to his family, or Yoda, the baby Yoda, because we don't know what his name is, or the child. I guess we'll call it the child, or the child will become a Mandalorian, thus giving us Yoda-lorian.
With the helmet. It could fit the ears in if you can, but I don't think they fit though.
So the show is exciting. The movie was a disappointment, but we are excited to see where we go from here. Yeah. And that, fellas, or that, not people's, is an hour of Star Wars talk.
Like, you know, veteran Star Wars watcher from the new person.
To a beginner Star Wars, yeah. It's an awesome world. Even though some of the movies were disappointing and stuff like that, it's an awesome world, and awesome characters, and more awesomeness to come.
And one of the greatest soundtracks.
Dude, iconic, man.
One of the best iconic, memorable soundtracks in all movies.
You could play some of those soundtrack and just like walk into a room.
People who don't even
amazing.
know about Star Wars will recognize like the title theme. Whatever.
And I'm still trying to save up money so I could go to Galaxy's Edge because I want to take a picture in front of
the cantinas or like there's like droids and stuff and lightsabers.
Yeah. Well, the lightsabers are expensive.
They are.
That's another thing I would need to save up for too. Like the entrance to the place plus the lightsaber itself. You're looking. I don't know, dude. It's a lot of money, bro.
It is.
But yeah, the Millennium Falcon. I also want to take a picture in front of as well because they have like a full like statue or like
life-size model. Yeah.
Life-size model. So I want to do that. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to, but sooner or later it'll happen. But yeah, and then next week, are you able to join us again?
I think I am.
Okay, we'll hold you to that. So there you go, everybody. Get Geeked, my Get Geeked Nation. Star Wars. Come back next week to see what we'll talk about then. And hopefully Alex will be able to join us in either maybe next episode, if not episode after that. And So with that said, everybody, we will see you guys all on the next episode.
See you guys. I have spoken.
This is the way.
This is the way.